Hello guys, welcome to another Revise in 5 with me, Mr. Schmartish. We're looking at 6.1 environmental considerations and their impacts on business today. Okay, so this might actually last over 5 minutes. Most of my videos have, well, the ones I've recorded for this upcoming assessment. So apologies for that, and apologies if the editing isn't great, but hopefully you'll get the information you'll need. Okay, so let's first look at some environmental considerations. So OCR break them into 4 main categories. Climate change is one consideration. Sustainability is another consideration. Pollution is another consideration. And waste disposal is another. Okay. So in the exam, it might just say state 2 environmental considerations. You could just state any 2 of these 4. Okay. But from on these 4, we'll have little branches. So let's first talk about climate change. So climate change also looks at global warming, which is increasing due to more fossil fuels being burnt, okay? Or deforestation, which means a lot more trees being cut down, okay? Less trees is going to increase the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which isn't good. It's going to warm up the atmosphere. Businesses could also lose supply of energy or IT connections due to climate change. Okay, this has happened before. Older people are dying from more heart-related diseases. And farming and soil degradation means, due to climate change, means that crops are going to find it really, really hard to grow. Okay, so basically, things are changing due to climate change, and not always. Almost always negatively. Okay. So the other consideration is sustainability. So to make sure the business lasts longer, the planet lasts longer, we might have to use cleaner transport. So things like electric cars and things like that, or public transport and share the transport, or just you walk or cycle to work. Saving water and light, so businesses will try and do this. Not only will it cut costs, it's good for the environment. Okay, so they might switch off, make sure the water's turned off, make sure the lights are turned off, and things like that. Sustainable construction basically means using recycled materials to make buildings. So if you're building a new house, for example, you might use reclaimed wood from other houses, reclaimed bricks from other houses that have been demolished. Okay, so we're not using things that are brand new, we're recycling things that are no longer needed for their original purpose, and renewable sources of energy. Yeah, so that means like using solar panels or things like that to power your business. So we're looking at pollution as another consideration. So air pollution, noise pollution, and polluting seas and rivers. So air pollution leads to more asthma and bronchitis in people. Okay, so that's obviously something a business needs to consider. It's quite prevalent in big cities, especially in China. Noise pollution. Okay, so the business is making loads of noise, like factories tend to make loads of noises. The local community might develop a tinnitus, which is like a ringing in the ear, or the polluting of seas and rivers. So you need to consider where the business is dumping their waste. Okay, if it's dumping it in the sea or river, okay, it's going to have a massive negative effect on the wildlife. Okay, which is going to affect the general environment and climate in total. Another consideration is waste disposal. So how are businesses disposing of their waste? Okay, so are they using landfill or incinerating it? Okay, both options are not environmentally friendly. Could the business turn their waste into raw materials? So a business like Oleco uses used oil, turns them into renewable diesel, biodiesel, I believe, to power their vehicles and the vehicles of their customers. Okay, so a business needs to look at all these environmental considerations in terms of their business practices. Okay, if they're found to be going against these or not taking these considerations into effect, it might have a negative impact on their business. But if they are looking at these considerations, it might also have a positive impact in their business. So we're gonna look at that now. So let's look at the impact of environmental considerations on profitability. You might get a question like, why would a business use, so let's say a coffee shop, why would a coffee shop source its beans from environmentally friendly suppliers. Okay, so you need to look at let's look at the impact. So let's talk about the way it increases a business's profitability. So the raw materials might be reduced. Okay, what I mean by that is certain businesses might use waste as their raw material. Okay, such as Oleco, as I said, they use that waste oil to make biodiesel to fuel their cars. A company like C2C, which makes sunglasses, use 100% recycled C plastic. Okay, obviously costs no money to buy these materials. So if these costs are reduced, this saving could be passed on to customers. It increases their reputation. Okay, because they're being environmentally friendly. People want to be more environmentally themselves, and a lot of the times they do that in their purchasing decisions. So they only buy from environmentally friendly businesses, which also means you might gain a competitive advantage over businesses who aren't environmentally friendly, for example, which is a bad thing. You may receive grants from the government because you're being environmentally friendly. If you're, for example, installing solar panels, it might cost you a lot of money, which we'll talk about in the decreases, but you might actually get a grant for that. So free money to do it, which means the cost overall will be reduced. And it's going to lead to much more sustainable business. Okay, so if you're, let's say, using solar panel or wind power and things like that to power your business, because fossil fuels are going to run out very, very soon, in roughly 50 years. It means that because you don't rely on these fossil fuels, your business is going to be able to carry on when these fossil fuels do eventually run out. So it's actually planning to be environmentally friendly now is going to mean your business is going to be around much longer in the long run. So let's look at some decreases in profitability, so negative things. So your raw materials might be increased. Okay, so if you're choosing suppliers that are using ethical and environmentally friendly practices, they've also got to charge a higher price. So that means you've got to pay a higher price for raw materials, okay? Which might mean your profit margins might be decreased, a little small, or you might have to charge a higher price, which not all customers will be on board with. There's also a high initial cost of implementing the equipment. So again, if you're buying solar panels or turbines to power your business, it's going to cost a lot of money initially, okay, for the equipment. Okay, you might get grants, which is a advantage, but it will still cost you a lot of money. But overall, in the long run, it will decrease your costs. So it does work out. So also, it's time consuming to try and find suppliers that are environmentally friendly. Try and put your solar panels in, trying to reduce your pollution, reduce your costs. It takes time to implement these procedures, okay? And time might cost a lot of effort and money, okay? And because it's time consuming, you might not have people in your staff dedicated enough, so you might have to do it. Yeah, yeah, just print it off. And it may not align with the bottom line, okay? So what I mean by that is shareholders ultimately want to make profit, okay? Being ethical is going to increase, so environmentally friendly and ethical actually, will increase your costs. Shareholders might say, well, that sounds nice, but it's not. It's going to increase our cost, which is going to decrease our profits, which is going to decrease our share prices. So you can't do it. Or if you do it, we're going to sell our shares, right? And there might be a possible backlash if you are greenwashing customers, okay? This is very rare, but let's say, I'll talk about Volkswagen. So Volkswagen decreased their things. Yeah. So Volkswagen sold cars that decreased their decreased their emissions. Okay, so they're selling diesel cars that had 0% diesel emissions, which was obviously good for the environment, but it was found out they misled their customers. It didn't do what they said, which I talked about in a previous video. So this is what is called greenwashing. So fooling customers and believing that the product is more eco-friendly than it actually is, have a backlash from customers, and that will obviously decrease your sales, okay? Apologies for the interruptions during that video. Again, I work in a school. I shoot these at school, so apologies for that, but hopefully you can get all the information from this video and the slides. Have a good good day. See you there, guys.